Chairs No Waiting, episode number 753. Mayberry Days previews and just all around stuff. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Head over there and check out some of the great new books. They got some great new books. The Essential Mayberry. This is the follow-on book to Mayberry 101 by Neil Brower. Definitely something you want to check out. Also, we have the 2024 Mayberry Flip calendars. So it's a day-by-day calendar, plus the wall calendar as well. Head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and check it out. And Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you by the folks like you who attended the Mayberry Meetup. So thank you to all of you folks at the Mayberry Meetups, and thank you for being here with me. It is always fun to spend some time in Mayberry, but this is Mayberry, what would we call this? I won't call it Holy Week. That's not right. But this is Mayberry Days week. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Mayberry Days, but not what you would think. So hopefully if you're going to be heading to Mayberry Days, you can listen to this and get excited about coming there. And if you're not going to be able to come this year, hopefully you'll find this interesting because a lot of people don't quite understand what happens during Mayberry Days as far as the tribute artists are going. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about all that and show you an example of some of the stuff we do during Col Tim's. So during Mayberry Days, the week, you'll see all kinds of tribute artists wandering the streets of Mount Airy, North Carolina, starting probably on about Thursday or Friday for certain. You'll see tribute artists for all kinds of different characters from the Andy Griffith Show there. I'll be there as Floyd the Barber, but there are so many. I'm not even going to start naming them because there are so many of them that come. And I just want you to realize that those tribute artists are coming to Mayberry Days in almost totally on their own dime. They're coming there to entertain you and to be a part of Mayberry Days and to make it more special for you. So when you see those men and women, because we have both, be sure and thank them for being there because they came, they're paying their own hotel room, they paid their gas, they took days off work. They're there entertaining us because while I'll be there as Floyd, believe me, I laugh at the tribute artist just like everybody else because I'm a huge fan, right? So it is so fun for me to be able to be a part of that, and they enjoy it. I mean, they enjoy it, but there is a financial cost for doing all this. So if you ever wonder why the tribute artists are not at everything, well, it's because they can't afford to be at everything. But Mayberry Days is kind of the mecca of Mayberry events, and it is a great place to go to meet up with other fans from the Andy Griffith Show. Now, I'm sure you know about this. If you don't, you should just Google Mayberry Days, Mount Airy, North Carolina, and you'll find out all about it. But it is coming up. This is 2023, so it's going to be coming up the 18th, really, this week, all week, through the 24th. So it's the large part of it is on Friday and Saturday. That's the largest, biggest, focused part of Mayberry Days. But there are things now going on all week. If you go to mayberrydays.org, you can go and find the complete schedule of everything going on. I know I've talked about this in previous weeks as well, so I definitely encourage you to go and check those out. But here's really what I wanted to talk about tonight, though, because it's kind of interesting to me, and I think a lot of people don't realize it. So Col Tim's is a big show where people can, to somewhat, they sign up to be part of the talent, like it's a talent show. And they want to perform on stage there at the Andy Griffith Playhouse. So they come with some kind of a talent. They ask if they can be in the show. And I'm not sure exactly what the criteria is to allow people to be in the show, but they show up. So normally we don't know who's going to be performing at Col Tim's, all the tribute artists. We don't know until about 5 or 6 o'clock with the show that starts at 7. And so our job is to try to make a show out of a bunch of different acts that may or may not show up, but that are supposedly going to be there, often including our cast members or special guests that are there. They might want to get out and say something as well. So we end up basically backstage having note cards that we start arranging. I start arranging starting about 5 o'clock or 5:30, trying to put together the show that's going to start at 7 o'clock. So that is what Col Tim's is like. So what do the tribute artists do? So the tribute artists show up at Col Tim's, and we have, over the last several years, had a plan so that we have different little skits and things that we can do for Col Tim's. But that doesn't mean that we're actually going to get to do them, because we don't know how many people might show up for the show. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I think it makes it more entertaining when you come to a show like this. And we've been doing this I've been doing it since 94, and we always have a few things up our sleeves as a tribute artist to make this a Mayberry event. But we have a lot of other things that we kind of list out to make the show very Mayberry, because a lot of times the people who have talent, I'm not saying the tribute artists don't have talent, but the talent that signs up for the talent show are often singing, or maybe they're dancing. We've had ballerinas. We've had folks singing Christian hymns. We've had real bands that come. We've had cloggers. It's just the gambit has been run. We've had dogs, trained dogs. We've had a bird that whistled the Andy Griffith Show. That was the theme. That's been a long time ago. But we've had all those things. And so we have to make a complete show out of this. And to me, it's like, whose line is it anyway? Where they just throw out a topic and everybody has to react to it. Guys, that's what the tribute artists are really doing backstage. I mean, we are literally changing the order of people that are about to come out on the fly a lot of times, just because, oh, I need to go early because I've got to go home, or, oh, this person's not feeling good. They need to get it out and get done so they can leave. You wouldn't believe. But we always have a few things that we're going. So like, we planned 1 year, and this has been several years ago. Let's see, this is in 1995. So I had been doing Floyd for 1 year. This was my second year. And we did this routine, this skit of Barney and the choir. So I want to let you hear that. If you're watching the video, you'll be able to see it. But in the absence of having a Ed Masters, Floyd is the choir director, and we basically recruited people from the audience to come on stage to be the Mayberry choir. So I hope you'll enjoy hearing this if you're only able to hear it. But if you're watching the video, you will be able to see this performance by, Bernard P. Fife himself. So let's let them take this away for us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of John Masters, the choir director, who couldn't be here tonight, I'd like to welcome you all to a command performance of good old 14A. All right, 14A. The choir felt like we were singing again this year, and once again, our featured singer, Bernard P. Fife. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was David Browning from 1995's Mayberry Days event. If you were able to see it, so what a great job David did. If you got to see that, if you were watching the video and were able to see it, I hope you did. That was from 1995. Now, granted, we had pre-arranged, and we had obviously lip syncing capability there to lip sync the song, so we weren't actually having to sing it, but we did have the lyrics right there in front of us, and the choir. I was directing the choir to sing along with the song, but the choir literally didn't know what they were going to be doing when I asked them, "Hey, would you volunteer to be in the Mayberry Choir and come up? You don't have to actually sing, but I need you to come up and be members of the choir." So we basically did that on the spot, and they just followed along. And we had David Browning as the Mayberry deputy. He came out as Barney Fife in that video, and he did the singing just like Barney. So if you're just listening, I'm sure you were picturing Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith Show singing that song. Well, this was the same idea and feeling that you would get at Mayberry Days when you watch our tribute artist, Barney, whether it be David Browning, who was amazing for so many years, who retired back in 2017, I believe was his last Mayberry Days. And he's retired from doing Barney like this anyway. And we have Terry Varvel that's doing it with us during Mayberry Days and many other Mayberry events. And we may, if we have an opportunity, do that same skit this coming week. So if you're going to be in Mount Airy and you'd like to see something like that done, I can guarantee you this, it will not be exactly the same, because nothing we do is actually ever exactly the same. So whenever you come to one of our Mayberry events, you will likely see reruns, because we have a lot of skits that we've done over the years and we pick from them. A matter of fact, let's see if I can show this. I have a entire list of routines that we can do as the Mayberry tribute artist, and I've got them listed out as by which tribute artist will be in town or at a particular event, so that we can pick through these lists to come up with all these different routines, skits that we can do that are reminiscent at the minimum of episodes from the Andy Griffith Show. So we have big plans for this coming weekend in Mount Airy, North Carolina, where we will be doing things like you just heard or saw. And I definitely would, if it's not sold out, it may very well be sold out. Col Tim's tends to sell out, but I definitely encourage you. I think it's probably worth the money that you'll spend to come and just enjoy yourself, laugh, and have a absolutely great time at Col Tim's. I know I always have a great time, and it just wears me out. By the end of it, that's been all of Mayberry Days is over basically at the end of Col Tim's. And as Floyd, I've given you everything I got. I can barely keep my head up at the end. We are so tired, but wow, it's a good tired. You know, it's a good feeling. You get that good feeling down deep inside. You know what that is? Yeah, I'm tired. No, yeah, that's what that is. So I definitely want to encourage you to do that. When we were doing this, we plan things. Like I plan out, I got some things that I send out to all the tribute artists so that they can kind of see a possible lineup of things we might do or ideas of things we could do during Mayberry Days. But it's always just an idea that we work toward, trying to make sure that we can perform for you. And lots of times we don't get to do most of the things we planned for because there's too many acts, and the show's going to run to be 4 hours long, which it has in the past. So we try not to do that. Anyway, I don't know if that's interesting to you at all, but it is I think it's a little bit of insight so that when you go to these events, you will have some idea of how we're actually putting these things together. Because it's not just Mayberry Days. There has never been, there was one Mayberry event where we were paid to come in a day early to put on a play that was in Bellevue, Tennessee at a church. It's Bellevue up in Memphis, Bellevue Church. They paid us for 2 days to come in so that we could rehearse and then do the show. But that was the very first time that had ever happened. And matter of fact, the only time that's ever happened. So basically any event we show up, whether it was Mayberry comes to Scottsburg, Col Tim's, any of the events you see, the Mayberry cruise, we are coordinate with one another and getting some bullet points together about what kind of skits we're going to do, maybe routine skits. But that's the only rehearsal that we get. And so then we're just doing it live right there for you. So I think that makes it more funny, in my opinion, because when you realize that we're doing the best we can and it's just live and we're going for it, I think it makes it more funny. Just like Whose Line Is It Anyway would not be funny if you thought it was completely script, but the fact that they're pulling that off right there, I think it means something. All right. So we've got a couple of voicemails and then we'll do some trivia. So let's pull up this voicemail. The first one we got is from Phil and Mary. So let's hear from them.
Hey, Alan, it's Phil Barner calling. Just want to give you a shout and let you know that Mary and I rewatched Mayberry Man last night, and that was probably only our fourth viewing of it since it was released. And we just enjoy it more each time, and you see things, pick up on things you might have missed the previous viewings, and we just really got a kick out of it, man. Everybody did such a great job with it, and Gordon Stark did a fine production with the budgets they had to work with and everything. It was just phenomenally done. And anybody that hasn't seen it, man, if you're a fan of the Andy Griffith Show, you got to see it because you'll get a kick out of it. Even had a good friend of mine who's an Andy Griffith fan finally saw it for the first time this week, and he was telling me how much he enjoyed it. He even said, hey, that Alan did a great job. So there you go. Thumbs up to you. Well, take care, and hopefully we'll see everybody next week at Mayberry Days. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.
All right, so it's this week. He called last week, but that's the reason he said that. But thank you, Phil, and thank you for the very kind words about me and Mayberry Man. I'm thankful for Mayberry fans that are finally able to watch the movie for free. They're able to see it and see what it was all about. And just to remind you that during Mayberry Days, we're going to actually have the folks that had contributed to the movie or to the series are going to be able to go to before Mayberry Days, really, or it's Wednesday night. We'll be having a screening and a meet and greet in Mount Airy at the Creekside Cinema. So they'll be there. And then there's also one coming up in Danville in about a week from Saturday. And then there's one up in California. I'm not going to be at that one, but I will be in Danville. So I'll be in Mount Airy and in Danville. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there, and we'll get to see the Mayberry Man, the series. We'll get to see it, get to watch it all right there in the theater together. So we'll see how everybody likes it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys can be there with us. That would be fun. All right, we got one more voicemail, and then we'll get us into some trivia.
Hi, Alan. This is Paul Williams calling from beautiful downtown Scranton, Pennsylvania. I wondered, you had said that the genesis of your being interested in the Andy Griffith Show was that your roommate in college watched it and you would watch it with him. And I wondered, is he involved in any of the events or in a rerun watchers club, or has he lost his interest? Just curious. Thanks for your reply. Bye.
Thank you, Paul. No, my roommate's name, and he and I went to high school together as well, and work at the same place and go to church the same place. So Rob Jones is his name, and he is still a huge Andy Griffith fan. He's never really done too many of the events. He did go to Mayberry Days. Actually, the very first year I ever did Floyd, he came, and so then it scared him off, and he's never been in again. But he did go to that the first year, but he's never really done too many of the events. But he's still a huge fan. No, he is still a part of the Mayberry fan club, and he got the bullet. He got all that stuff, and he's the one that got me started. I mentioned last week the bullet that I was reading from about Otis had the letter in there that said Rob had paid my dues that year. So that was nice of him to do that. So he created a monster, is what it would be said. I did have one more voicemail, and it was from Paul Mulick, but the audio was so digitally, had so many digital artifacts in it, I can't play it. So Paul, if you called, or if you could call back and leave the message again, it would be great. But it was basically about the music from the Andy Griffith Show. He had some good information in there, but I couldn't honestly even pick it all out because it was very granulated. I couldn't pick it up. So thank you for calling, Paul Mulick, as well. I should have mentioned that the first caller was Phil Bernard and his wife. They are Leonard Blush and Miss Ellie in the parade every year for the last several years at Mayberry Days, and they'll probably be running around doing that at other times as well. But that's who they were. And Paul, thank you for calling, Paul Williams. All right, guys, let's do some Mayberry trivia if you're ready. Let me get the music going. Our music, here we go. All right, so pull out your pencil and a paper, and let's get going here. I said this was going to be shorter, but I don't think it is. Question number 1. Barney carried a loaded gun. True or false? Barney carried a loaded gun. True or false? Of course, the answer is false. He had not get to carry it. Let's see. This one's just to make you feel good, right? Did Deputy Fife carry a gun? Yes or no? If you missed that one, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think I even need to tell you the answer on this one. Did Deputy Fife carry a gun? The answer is yes, of course. Name the newspaper reporter who covered Mayberry versus Mount Pilot Little League baseball game. Name the newspaper reporter who covered the Mayberry versus Mount Pilot Little League baseball game. All right. Name the newspaper reporter who covered the Mayberry versus Mount Pilot Little League game. The answer is Howard. Howard Sprague was the reporter. All right, number 4. Who banned Barney from the Philomethian Literary Society? Oh, this is a good one. I'll give you, this is a multiple choice. Who banned Barney from the Philomethian Literary Society? Was it A, Andy, B, George Foster, C, Jack Egbert, or D, Howard Sprague? Who banned Barney from the Philomethian Literary Society? Andy, George Foster, Jack Egbert, or Howard Sprague? All right. So make your guess. If you don't know, it's multiple choice, so you should be able to guess. Who banned Barney from the Philomethian Literary Society? The answer was C, Jack Egbert. And he was no prize either, I'll tell you. All right. Next up. Number 5. It's true or false? While umpiring a baseball game, Andy called Opie safe at home base. True or false? While umpiring a baseball game, Andy called Opie safe at home base. True or false? All right. The answer is while umpiring a baseball game, Andy called Opie safe at home is false. He called him out. Okay. Number 6. Did Sheriff Taylor carry a gun? Come on. Those are both too easy. Both of the gun questions. Did Sheriff Taylor carry a gun? Okay, so the answer is pretty easy. No, he didn't. No. All right. Number 7. What did Helen's pitcher reveal about the baseball game? Oh, the baseball game we just asked a question about. What did Helen's pitcher reveal about the baseball game? What did it reveal? Do you remember? It's color episodes, so you guys, you gotta watch the color episodes. What did Helen's pitcher reveal about the baseball game? You'll have to pause if you don't want to know the answer, because the answer is Helen's pitcher revealed that Opie was actually safe at home base. He was safe. He was not out. All right, number 8. According to Andy, what is a police officer's most important piece of equipment? Is it A, his badge, B, his uniform, C, his gun, or D, a squad car? According to Andy, what is a police officer's most important piece of equipment? Badge, uniform, gun, or squad car? What is a policeman's most important piece of equipment? The answer is his badge. It's just right here, his badge. All right, guys, that's 8 questions. That's 8 questions for you. How did you do? You got at least 2 right. There's no doubt. Because those are like, did Barney carry a gun? Did Andy carry a gun? That's easy. That was so easy. So how did you do? I hope you did pretty good. Some folks are saying you need to shine the backs of your shoes, even if you have the badge. You know. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed that and had some fun playing the trivia. That was pretty easy trivia. I know that, but that's just trying to make you feel better about later in the week if you go to Mayberry Days and you play in the Mayberry Days Trivia Championships, because you might not feel as good. We'll get those questions later as we come back. So, folks, hey, I hope you've enjoyed this. A little bit of insight about how some of the Mayberry events put together their shows. That's a little bit about it, and can make you hopefully enjoy it more and make you go out there and say thank you to all those tribute artists that show up out of their own, gumption and pay their way to come and entertain all of us. So thanks to all of them for doing that, because Mayberry Days wouldn't be the same without them. Folks, I want to thank you all for that. I want to thank all the folks that help support this podcast. I have patrons. We have folks that came to the Mayberry meetup. So many things. And I just want to thank all of them for the amazing support I get from all of you. Thank you so much. And I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. Hey, send in your Mayberry Days reports if you go there. Call them in, because I would like to play them for everybody. Again, 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or you can head over to twochairsnowaiting.com, and all that information is there, so you can find it. Folks, thanks so much for being here in Mayberry with me. Can't wait to see many of you at Mayberry Days this coming weekend, and we'll be right back here at Two Chairs. See you next time.